Peace be upon you. This is Said Mirza from MarinaReason.com, and we're going to be continuing on with our Quran study session. This is session number 8. We left off at chapter 6, verse 62. So we'll continue on with verse 63. This is Brother Gerrans' translation, the Quran and Complete Revelation, which you can download for free from Qur'an-Alone, or you can read along at reader.Qur'an-Alone. I also wanted to make you aware of the fact that a lot of things that I'm going to be talking about in this session are from the work of Brother Gerrans, the Quran and Complete Revelation. So I suggest you look at his footnotes and his articles on various things. If you are wondering why he's translating certain terms the way he is, or giving you definitions, those are Quranic definitions. Anyway, let's begin here. In the name of God, the Almighty and the Merciful, I seek refuge in God from Satan the accursed. Say thou, who delivers you from the darknesses of the land and the sea? You call to him humbly and in secret. If he delivers us from this, we will be among the grateful. Say thou, God delivers you from it and from every distress. Then you ascribe a partnership. So we know now that what to ascribe a partnership, one of the characteristics of that is that you thank or are grateful to others besides God when you are delivered from distress. This is what we get from this. And it is God who delivers us from every sort of ordeal. 65. Say thou, he is the one able to send punishment upon you from above you or from beneath your feet, or to confound you through sects, and let some of you taste the might of others. See thou how we expound the proofs, that they might understand. But thy people have denied it when it is the truth. Say thou, I am not a guardian over you. When the Quran uses the word say thou, this in Arabic is qul. This is directing the messenger to say something. It's a speech of the messenger. And you can just do a search for say thou on reader.Qur'an.com, and it'll give you all the instances of what the messenger was being told to say. This is the job of the messenger, to deliver the messages of God. They are warners and bearers of glad tidings. Anyway, coming back to the topic at hand, it is God who sends punishment. Everything that's happening to us is from God. You need to understand that. So if you're caught in sectarian violence and wars, or accidents or whatever, this is God's punishment. Every report has a dwelling place, and you will come to know. So this report in Arabic is nabain, which means news. So every news has its arrival, right? I mean, the Quran is delivering the news of the day of judgment, and the day of judgment is going to confirm that. So you will come to know. And when thou seest those who discourse vainly concerning our proofs, turn thou away from them until they discourse vainly concerning a subject other than it. And if the Satan cause thee to forget, then sit thou not after the reminder with the wrongdoing people. Now, obviously, you could take this to mean discourse vainly as in make fun of, but you're going to see in the Quran, a lot of times when the Quran introduces a topic, it'll expand upon it. So you'll see what's being talked about, this discoursing vainly. And not upon those of prudent fears any account for them in anything, but a reminder that they might be in prudent fear. And leave thou those who take their doctrine as play and diversion, and whom the life of this world has deluded, and remind thou with it, lest a soul be given up to destruction for what it earned. It has not besides God ally or intercessor, and though it offer in compensation every equivalence, it will not be accepted from it. Those are they who are given up to destruction for what they earned. They have scalding water and a painful punishment for what they denied. So we have no ally or intercessor besides God. This blows away the whole argument of the Muslims, where they say that Muhammad will intercede on the day of judgment for them. And the recipient of the Quran, Muhammad, was directed to remind the people who take their doctrine as play and diversion with it, which is the Quran. And obviously, in a way, this applies to the reader of the Quran as well. Say thou, shall we call rather than to God to what neither profits us nor harms us, and be turned back on our heels after God has guided us? Like one whom the Satan seduced in the earth, lost in confusion, he having companions inviting him to guidance. Come thou to us, say thou, the guidance of God, that is guidance, and we have been commanded to submit to the Lord of all creation. Now I take this to mean that, as you go through life, you're going to find a lot of missionaries or men claiming to be men of God, and they're calling you towards their religion, towards what they're doing, and saying this is the guidance. That's what the missionaries do, or even the Muslims with the dawah. They're calling you towards religion, and it's saying like one whom the Satan seduce in the earth. So these are the Satans, lost in confusion. They have companions inviting him. He having companions inviting him to guidance. This is the false guidance, saying, "Come thou to us." Say thou the guidance of God. That is guidance. As in, say the messenger should say the guidance of God. That is guidance. As in the Quran. That is guidance. And we have been commanded to submit to Lord of all creation. See, this is what Islam is. It's submission to God. It's not submission to religion. It's not following a religion. It's not creating a religion. It's not joining a sect or a movement. It's submission to God and the directives he has given to us in his revelation, the Quran. And uphold thou the duty and be in prudent fear of him, and he it is to whom you will be gathered. See, uphold the duty. Now Muslims take this to mean to uphold the prayer, when here it just means the duty to um, uphold the duty, the commandments of God that are in the Al-Kitab, the writ. This is still part of the Al-Kitab, Alif Lam Mim, chapter 6. And he it is that created the heavens and the earth in truth, and the day he says, "Be thou," then it is. His word is the truth, and to him belongs the dominion the day the trumpet is blown, the knower of the unseen and the seen, and he is the wise, the aware. Now, what God means by creating the heavens and the earth in truth is that there is a reason for the creation. See, it's not in vanity. This is not, God didn't create this for no purpose. There's a purpose. It is a testing ground for man. And the day he says, this is the day of judgment, he says, "Be thou," then it is. So the day of judgment, that's how it will be established. God will say, "Be thou," and it is. And when Ibrahim said to his father Azar, "Takest thou idols as gods? I see thee and thy people in manifest error." And thus we showed Abraham, the kingdom of the heavens and the earth, and that he might be of those who are certain. Now we're going to see what the kingdom of the heavens, or that Ibrahim was shown. It doesn't talk about the earth, but I'm guessing this was shown to him as well. 76. Then when the night covered him, he saw a star. See, this is the kingdom of the heavens, the star. He said, "This is my Lord." And when it set, he said, I love not those that set. Then when he saw the moon rising, he said, "This is my Lord." Then when it set, he said, "If my Lord guide me not, I will be of the people who stray." Then when he saw the sun rising, he said, "This is my Lord, this is greater." Then when it set, he said, "O my people, I am quit of that to which you ascribe a partnership. I have turned my face towards him who created the heavens and the earth, inclining to truth, and I am not of the idolaters." Now, the reason he turned away from all these things were because they said they rose up, they reached their zenith, and then they fell down. They said, "This is everything will perish, besides the countenance of your Lord abiding in majesty and honor." See, God will always abide. That's why He is the only one truly worthy of worship. Another thing I wanted to bring to your attention is that Ibrahim, who is considered, who the Muslims, Christians, and Jews, they all say that Abraham is their patriarch. He is the sort of like, they trace back their genesis of the religion to Abraham. And the Jews, they take the star as the symbol of their religion. If you ever gone to a synagogue or seen some of the Jewish architecture, you'll notice the star. Even the flag of Israel has that star. They call it the Star of David. Now, for the moon, Muslims take the moon as their symbol. If you look at the masajid, you will find the moon, the crescent moon. Even at the idol worshipping center in Makkah, Saudi Arabia, near the Kaaba, they built this clock tower. It has the moon. Now, the sun is associated with Christianity. If you know anything about Christianity, the sun is their symbol. So all these three are mentioned here, and it says that he turned away from all these three. So something that I noticed, kind of a symbolic thing. So he turned his face towards him who created the heavens and the earth, created everything, inclining to truth. The word in Arabic is Hanifan, which means a monotheist. But again, so the reason for translating is inclining to truth, and he was not of the idolaters. And his people disputed with him. He said, dispute you with me concerning God when he has guided me? And I fear not that to which you ascribe a partnership, save that my Lord should will anything. My Lord encompasses all things in knowledge. Will you then not take heed? You see, this is kind of a mirror of what's being talked about earlier. It says, um, shall we call rather than to God to what neither profits us nor harms us, and we turn back on our heels after God has guided us, like one whom the Satans, see, this is the people of Ibrahim disputing with him, seduce in the earth, lost in confusion, he having companions inviting him to guidance, see, the false guidance. Come thou to us, say thou, the guidance of God, that is guidance, and we have been commanded to submit to the Lord of all creation. So this mirrors what we just read. Okay, the argument that was given to Abraham. And how should I fear that to which you ascribe a partnership, when you fear not that you ascribe a partnership with God to that for which he has not sent down upon you authority? Then which of the two factions is worthier of security, if you know? Those who heed warning and clothe not their faith in injustice, those have security, and they are guided. And that is our argument we gave to Abraham against his people. We raise in degree whom we will, thy Lord is wise and knowing. So his argument is very poignant, very simple. His argument is that you are not fearing God, and you're ascribing him partnership. So do you have more right to security, or do I have more right to security when I am taking God as my God, and basically no one else? God is the most powerful, God is the most wise, God is the most God is the best protector, ally. So who should fear who? And this also, to that for which he has sent not down upon you any authority. See, this is one of the things in the Quran. The theme is bring your evidence. A lot of times God says bring your evidence. So if you have people telling you, okay, Jesus Christ is the Son of God, then ask them, where is your evidence? Bring your evidence. See, God never sent down any authority for this idol worship. Verse 84. Verse 84. And we gave him Isaac and Jacob, each we guided. And Noah did we guide before, and of his progeny David and Solomon and Job and Joseph and Moses and Aaron, and thus we reward the doers of good. And Zechariah and John and Jesus and Elijah, each was among the righteous. And Ishmael and Elisha and Jonah and Lot, and each did we prefer above all mankind. A note on these names. In Arabic, Jacob is Yaqub. Now, whether this Yaqub is what is meant in English as Jacob, because that's a biblical figure, that's up for debate. We're better off using the Arabic words, because then we're giving the biblical narrative authority by saying, Yaqub is Jacob, and then, they have the stories of Jacob in the Bible. Regardless, if someone is coming from a Christian background or even a Muslim background, they understand what David means. They might not understand what Dawood means. So that's the reason why Brother Gerrans is doing it this way. But in his first edition of the Quran, he was transliterating these words, these names. Okay, 87. And some of their fathers and their progeny and their brethren, and we chose them and guided them to a straight path. That is the guidance of God, wherewith he guides whom he wills of his servants. And had they ascribed a partnership, vain for them would have been what they did. See? If you ascribe a partnership to God, then you're finished. That's why it's so important to never ascribe a partnership to God. 89. Those are they to whom we gave the writ and judgment and prophethood. So if these deny them, we have already entrusted them to people who do not deny them. Those are they whom God has guided. So follow thou their guidance. Say thou, I ask of you for it no reward. It is only a reminder to all mankind. And they measured God not with the measure due him, when they said, God has not sent down upon a mortal anything. Say thou, who sent down the writ which Moses brought as a light and guidance for men? You make it into parchments which you show, and you conceal much, and you were taught what you knew not, you and your fathers. Say thou, God, then leave thou them playing in their vain discourses. See, this is what God was warning us against. See, it says here, where did it go? And leave thou those who take their doctrine as play and diversion, and whom the life of this world has deluded. And when thou seest those who discourse vainly concerning our proofs, turn thou away from them until they discourse vainly. And discourse vainly concerning a subject other than it. And if the Satan cause thee to forget, then sit thou not after the reminder with the wrongdoing people. See, this is the vain discourse, that God never sent down anything. And this is a writ we send down, one blessed, confirming what was before it, and that thou warn the mother of cities and those around her, and that those who believe in the hereafter believe in it, and they preserve their duty. So this is a writ. This is the Al-Kitab, because we're still in the Alif Lam Mim, chapter 6. This is the Al-Kitab that God has sent down, one blessed, confirming what was before it, or another translation is confirming what is between its hands, as that is the scope of this writ. And similarly, this is the two times the writ has been revealed. One was to Moses, and the second time was to Muhammad. And when I say the writ, I'm talking about the commandments of God, guidance for those of prudent fear. That's what the Quran means by the writ. Verse 93, and who is more unjust than he who invents a lie about God, or says, it has been revealed to me, when nothing has been revealed to him, and who says, I will send down the like of what God sent down. So the inventing a lie about God is saying that God never sent down anything, or says it has been revealed to me, as in makes up stuff, when nothing has been revealed to him, and who says, I will send down the like of what God has sent down. And if thou couldst see when the wrongdoers are in the throes of death, and the angels stretching out their hands, bring forth your souls. This day are you rewarded with the punishment of humiliation, because you ascribe to God other than the truth, and wax proud at his proofs. So those who are doing this, they are the wrongdoers. And now have you come to us alone, as we created you the first time, and you have left all that we conferred upon you behind your backs. And we see not with you your intercessors, which you claimed were among you as partners. It is cut off between you, and straight from you is what you claimed. Now, this is really the key of understanding what shirk is. See, shirk, ascribing a partnership to God. You think that these entities, whether it's men or fantasies, whatever you want to claim, you think that they will somehow help you. See, that's why God says, and we see not with you your intercessor, which you claimed were among you as partners. Where are they? They're gone. See, this is the state of the Christians and the Muslims on the Day of Judgment, who are thinking that their, prophets or messengers will help them. So on that day, they won't. God splits the seed and the kernel. He brings forth the living from the dead, and is the bringer forth of the dead from the living. That is God. How then are you deluded? Can anyone do this besides God? Nobody can. The cleaver of daybreak is the same Arabic word falik. Cleaver means to split. So he splits the seed and the kernel, and he also splits the day and the night. And he has appointed the night as rest, and the sun and the moon for reckoning, as in their measurements of time, and also gives you a sense of the imminent death and then resurrection. That is the determination of the exalted in might, the knowing. And he it is that made for you the stars, that you might be guided thereby in the darknesses of the land and the sea. We have set out in detail the proofs for people who know. And he it is that produced you from one soul, then a dwelling place and a repository. And we have set out in detail the proofs for people who understand. So, God created us from one soul, and the dwelling place and repository, this is the earth. We live here, and we will be buried here in the earth. And see how the progression is. We have set out in detail the proofs for people who know. We have set out in detail the proofs for people who understand. And then finally, people who believe. So there's a progression. And he it is that sends down from the sky water, and we bring forth thereby the growth of all things. And we bring forth from it greenery, bringing forth from it grain heaped up. And from the date palm, from its spades, bunches of dates within reach, and gardens of grapevines, and olives, and pomegranates, similar yet different. Look upon the fruit thereof when it bears fruit and it ripens, and that are fruits for people who believe. Everything owes its growth because of the water that comes from the sky, because that's the sweet water and God deposits it as streams or lakes in the earth, and from there everything grows. And this is also very interesting. See, it says, and gardens of grapevines and olives and pomegranates, similar yet different. See, not only are these fruits similar looking in the sense that they might have the same shape and they might have the same colors, but they're different in the sense that they taste different, or they might have peculiarities even within these within these categories. I mean, if you look at an olive tree or a lemon tree, you'll notice that each lemon is different. It's a different shape. You know, no lemon is going to be exactly the same as another lemon. So they're similar yet different. God is just showing us His power. You know, what He creates, how He creates, and when we create, you know, when humans create something like, you know, whatever in a factory, right? Spanners, they're all the same, mass production, but that's not how God does it. See, God has complete control power. 100. And they make for God partners of the domini when He created them, and they ascribe to Him sons and daughters without knowledge. Glory be to Him, and exalted is He above what they describe. Now, this word, al-jinn, which Brother Gerrans is translating as domini, and the singular is dominus. This is Latin, and it means master. And he's going to use servi somewhere else, which is which is in opposition to this, and that means slave. These are two categories of men. You know, you have the leaders and then you have the followers. If you want more information, I suggest you look at the addenda to the Quran and Complete Revelation. This is page number 95, where he talks about the shaitan, jinn, and related terms considered. Usually this word is translated as jinn, which is this like a demon. It's a entity that's you know, the shaitan is a jinn. So anyway, look at what he's done. You can make up your own mind. Regardless, the characteristic of the jinn is that they have the will to dominate. They always want to dominate. That's really the key of it. Verse 101, the originator of the heavens and the earth, how could he have a son when he has no companion, and he created all things and he knows all things? Isn't that the truth, though? I mean, that's such a simple argument, but this is so true. You can't refute it. How could, see, God Himself, there's nothing like Him. So how can He have a son when He has no companion? He has no pair. And God created everything in pairs. This is also one thing the Quran keeps on talking about. One of the marks of His creation is that He creates in pairs. That is God, your Lord. There is no God save He, the creator of all things. So serve Him, and He is guardian over all things. Vision comprehends Him not, but He comprehends vision. He is the subtle, the aware. Means of insight have come to you from your Lord, and whoso sees, it is for his soul, and whoso is blind, it is against it, and I am not a custodian over you. 105. And thus we expound the proofs, both that they might say, Thou hast studied, and that we might make it plain for people who know. Follow thou what has been revealed to thee from thy Lord. There is no God save He, and turn thou away from the idolaters. The only thing that was revealed to Muhammad was the Quran. This is really the key. This is what the channel has been about, you know, from day one, you know, Qur'an-Alone. And if you've read the Quran carefully, you know that's the truth is that God has only revealed the Quran to Muhammad. Muhammad was following the Quran. This is it. Here God is commanding Muhammad to follow what has been revealed to thee, which is the Quran, and turn thou away from the idolaters. And had God willed, they would not have ascribed a partnership, and we have not made thee a custodian over them, and thou art not a guardian over them, because God is the custodian, He is the guardian over them. And revile not those to whom they call besides God, lest they revile God in enmity without knowledge. Thus to every community have you made fair their doings, then to their Lord is their return, and He will inform them of what they did. And they swore by God their strongest oaths, that if a proof came to them, they would believe in it. Say thou, the proofs are only with God. And what will make you perceive that if one comes, they will not believe? Okay, so this needs a little bit of unpacking. So they are saying, these people who are, you gotta keep the context in mind here, they would not have. These are those who ascribe a partnership. Okay, they are swearing that by God their strongest oaths that if a proof came to them, miracle. They're looking for a miracle. They wouldn't believe in it. Say that the proofs are only with God, and what will make you perceive that Wama yushirukum, and what will make you perceive innaha that they are it is ajat when they come la yuminun, they do not believe. So what I understand this to mean is that even if a proof came to them, which did, by the way, which is the other thing that's picked up later on, the proof already came, okay? And the proof is what? The Quran. See, means of sight have come to you from your Lord. The Quran has already come. This is a proof, and they're saying that a proof come to us, we would believe. See, and the Muhammad is being told the proofs are only with God. So proof, God send down the proof, and what make you perceive or realize that they are it, that it is it, as in this is the proof, it's come down, but you don't realize it when it came. They do not believe. See, they don't believe. The proof already came. And we will turn away their hearts and their eyes, even as they believe not in it the first time. And we will leave them wandering blindly in their inordinacy. So, God will turn away their hearts and their eyes, even as they believe not in it the first time. See, they didn't believe in the Quran. So it says somewhere else that they rejected our proofs out of hand. So they never even considered the Quran carefully, see? And so they didn't believe in it the first time. So when they rejected it, see, this is what happens. When God's proofs come and you reject them without even considering them, then your heart is sealed. This is what happened with Pharaoh too. Pharaoh, if you remember, Musa came to him with the proof of God, the proofs of God. He came with the stick that could turn into a snake, and his hand, which became white. And when he showed him the proof, Pharaoh rejected. And then subsequently, the more proofs that came, he never believed because his heart was sealed. That's why God says, and were we to send down to them the angels and the dead to speak to them, and we to gather everything to them from before their very eyes, they would not believe, save it God wills, but most of them are ignorant. See? Doesn't matter what else comes to them, because they did not believe in the proof of God the first time. This is talking about the Quran, which again comes back to this thing that they are swearing their strongest oaths that if a proof came to us, we would believe. And the proofs are only with God. And what will make you perceive that if one comes, la yuminun, they do not believe? Okay, verse 112. And thus have you appointed for every proof and thus have we appointed for every prophet and enemy Satans of Servi and Domini, instructing one another in the decoration of speech as delusion. And had thy Lord willed, they would not have done it. So leave thou them and what they fabricate, and that the hearts of those who believe not in the hereafter might incline thereto, and be pleased therewith, and that they might commit what they are committing. So for every prophet is an enemy. And these are the shayateen, the Satans of al-ins wal-jinn, Servi and Domini. If you want to take the traditional view, it's talking about al-ins, men, and jinn, which is this demonic entities, instructing one another in the decoration of speech as delusion. Now, what's important to know is that these shayateen, which the current iteration of that is the leaders we have, or not all the leaders, most of the leaders, and also most of the scholars, religionists, sort of the upper echelon. I'm talking about the priests, rabbis, monks, the imams. They're shayateen, and they're instructing in the art of delusion. See, they're good at this speech, and that the hearts of those who believe not in the hereafter might incline thereto. So this is their function. Their function is to mislead those who believe not in the hereafter. So, for the longest time, I had a real problem with these imams but now I understand that they are part of the they're part of the matrix. See, they're here to they have a job to do. They're doing their job, and they're basically getting those people who believe not in the hereafter, um, that they be pleased with their stories and their fictions and their speeches. Verse 140, is it other than God I should seek as judge when he it is that sent down to you the writ set out and detailed? And those to whom we gave the writ know that it is sent down from thy Lord with the truth. So be thou not of those who doubt. We already have um, the writ set out in detail, which is in the Quran, and that is the best judgment. And those whom we gave the writ know that it is sent down from thy Lord with the truth. This is the man who the writ was given to before, as in the children of Israel. Like I said, Musa was revealed the writ. And because the writ is essentially the same writ, we do not, God doesn't abolish or make his proofs redundant, or he makes, or he brings something like that or better than that. So the writ that we have now is kind of like a 2.0, but essentially it's the same thing. That's why they know that what's sent down upon Muhammad is the truth. And perfect is the word of thy Lord in truth and justice. There is none to change his words, and he is the hearing, the knowing. Perfected means, it's the word tamad also means fulfilled or completed. And if thou obey most of those upon the earth, they will lead thee astray from the path of God. They follow only assumption, and they are only guessing. And if thou okay, so if you obey most of those upon the earth, they will lead thee astray from the path of God. This blows away the whole religion thing, right? Because majority are religionists. You have the Christians, you have the Muslims. It says they follow only assumption and they are only guessing. Is that not the truth? Thy Lord, he best knows who strays from his path, and he best knows the guided. So eat of that over which the name of God has been remembered, if you believe in his proofs. And what is with you that you eat not of that over which the name of God has been remembered, when he has set out in detail to you what is forbidden you, save that you be compelled thereto? And many lead astray by their vain desires without knowledge. Thy Lord, he best knows the transgressors. See, this is classic religionist stuff. They always come up with complicated rules or procedures, and that's what it's saying here, that don't. He has already set out in details. He's already given you the writ. So follow the writ. And leave the outwardness of sin and the inwardness thereof. Those who earn sin will be rewarded with what they committed. And eat not of that over which the name of God has not been remembered. And it is perfidy, and the Satans instruct their allies to dispute with you. And if you obey them, you are idolaters. So don't obey the Satans. I mean, that's what it's saying. 122 is one who was dead, and to whom we gave life, and for whom we appointed a light, wherein he walks among men like one in darkness, from which he cannot come out. Thus is made fair to the false camers of guidance what they do. See, God gave us life, and then he chose certain men, and he appointed for them a light by which they walk. And thus have you appointed in every city its greatest lawbreakers, that they should scheme therein, and they scheme only against themselves, and they perceive not. That's what it says, and really all this scheming will be nothing on the day of judgment. And when a proof comes to them, they say, we will not believe until we be given the like of what was given the messengers of God. God best knows where he places his message. There will befall those who are lawbreakers humiliation before God, and severe punishment for what they schemed. See, scheming also in the Quranic context means to talk, vainly, or to like you always have an answer kind of thing. Anyway, coming back to this thing. So when a proof comes to them, this is the Quran. See, again, they were saying this, they had the strongest, so they were swearing the strongest oaths that if a proof came to them, they would believe in it. See, the proof did come and they rejected it. See, that's why it says, say thou the proofs are only with God, and what will make you perceive that they are it is Ajat. When they come, they do not believe. See, this is what it happened. See, the proof came to them, and now when it came to them, now they said, when a proof comes to them, they say, we will not believe until we begin the like of what was given the messenger of God. This is pure arrogance. You thinking that you are the ones who should decide where God should place his message. God best knows where he places his message. They will befall those who are lawbreakers humiliation before God and severe punishment for what they scheme. See, these lawbreakers are also the ones who are appointed in every city. See, they are the leaders. So they think there's some sort of like, they should be given everything. I always find it interesting that the Quran, the messengers of God were never, well, at least I shouldn't say never, but I don't, like the kings of old, like, Cyrus the Great or Alexander the Great and all these, Caesar, they were never given the message. I found that very interesting. Okay, to continue, 125. And whom God wills to guide, he expands his breast towards submission. And whom he wills to lead astray, he makes his breast constricted, distressed, as if he were ascending into the sky. Thus does God appoint abomination for those who do not believe. And this is the path of thy Lord, one straight. We have set out in detail the proofs for people who take heed. They have the abode of peace with their Lord, and he is their ally because of what they did. And the day he gathers them all together. O congregation of Domini, you have desired many among the servile. We want to do the traditional translation. It would be, O congregation of Jinn, you have desired many among the men, and the allies among the servile, among the men will say, Our Lord, we benefited one another, but we have reached our term which thou appointest for us. He will say, The fire is your dwelling, you abiding eternally therein, save that God should will, thy Lord is wise and knowing. And thus do we make the wrongdoers allies of one another by what they earned. Verse 130, O congregation of Domini and Servi, al-Jinn wal-Ins, came there not to you messengers from among you relating to you my proofs and warning you of the meeting of this day of yours? They will say, We bear witness against ourselves, and the life of this world deluded them, and they will bear witness against themselves that they were false claimers of guidance. So the messengers did come. See, we already looked at all that. I'm just trying to show you how the Quran is so compact, and actually, if you just read it carefully, you'll see how it doesn't need anything else. It itself is an explanation. 131. That is because thy Lord would not destroy the cities in injustice while their people were unaware. Now, this is the whole point of the messengers. The messengers come to deliver warnings and to be bearers of good news. And those who reform themselves and do good deeds, then they are saved. And that's God would not destroy until he sends a messenger down. He does not destroy the city. This is what the takeaway is. See, the people were unaware. They didn't know any better. And for all the degrees for what they did, and thy Lord is not unmindful of what they do. And thy Lord is the free from need, the possessor of mercy. If he wills, he will remove you and appoint to succeed after you whom he wills, as he produced you from the progeny of other people. That which you are promised is coming, and you cannot escape. Say thou, O my people, work according to your power. I am working, and you will come to know for whom is the final outcome of the abode. The wrongdoers are not successful. Now we're gonna see the classic religionist stuff, as in they're making up stuff like rules and regulations, and like allowing stuff and forbidding stuff, and they don't really have anything scripturally. They don't have any evidence. They don't have any authority. Verse 136. And they make for God for what he creates of tilth and cattle a portion. They say, This is for God, according to their claim, and this is for our partners. And what is for their partners, it does not reach God. And what is for God, it reaches their partners. Evil is what they judge. It cannot reach God, see? But what they assign for their partners is talking about so if you want to take the pagan religions, the way they do this is that they sacrifice something and then they'll have this piece of the animal and they'll say, okay, this is for God, and then the rest of the piece is for their partners, who includes the priestly class. And so the priestly class eats that and enjoys themselves, and then once they're done with that, then whatever they assign to the God, they also consume. So this is what it's saying here. What is for their partners, it does not reach God, and what is for God, it reaches their partners. Evil is what they judge. And thus have their partners made fair to many among the idolaters the killing of their children, to bring them to ruin, and to obfuscate their doctrine for them. And had God willed, they would not have done it. So leave thou them and what they fabricate. See, their partners, this is the priestly class, because this priestly class is their partners, because this is the class that's going to supposedly protect them. On the day of judgment, they'll be intercessors. So they make fair to many among the idolaters the killing of their children. If you study ancient religion, you'll see that sacrificing children, this was part of their religious doctrine. And they say, these cattle and tilth are taboo. None is to eat them save whom we will, according to their claim. And cattle whose backs are made unlawful. And cattle over which they remember not the name of God as an invention against him. He will requite them for what they invented. This is all religious stuff. This is all pagan stuff. That religions are full of this. If you study any religion, you'll see all this stuff like this, just ridiculous, things. And later on, they will be challenged about these things. And they say, what is in the bellies of these cattle is exclusively for our males and forbidden our wives. But if it be dead, then they are all partners therein. He will requite them for their description. He is wise and knowing. 140. They have lost those who have foolishly killed their children without knowledge, and made unlawful what God provided them as an invention about God. They have gone astray and were not guided. And he it is that produced gardens trellised and untrellised, and the date palms, and crops diverse in their food, and the olive and the pomegranate, similar yet different. Eat of the fruit thereof when it bears fruit, and render its due on the day of its harvest, and commit not excess. He loves not the committers of excess. So you have here an obligation that on the day of the harvest you are supposed to render the due. Obviously, we don't live in a society like this anymore, but this is what it says. And of the cattle for burden and for skin. Eat of what God has provided you, and follow not the footsteps of Satan. He is an enemy to you. See, the cattle are to be used for burden and for skin. So this forbidding stuff, like you can't eat of you can't ride the animal whose backs are made unlawful, or you can't eat of them save whom we will. This is all inventions. And if you do this, you're following the footsteps of the Satan. Now, here's a rhetorical question to these religionists. 143. 8 pairs of sheep 2 and of goats 2. Say thou, is it the 2 males he has forbidden, or the 2 females? If what the wombs of the 2 females contain, inform me with knowledge if you be truthful. And of camels 2 and of oxen 2, say thou, is it the 2 males he has forbidden, or the 2 females? If what the wombs of the 2 females contain, or if you were witnesses when God enjoined this upon you, then who is more unjust than he who invents a lie about God, that he might lead people astray without knowledge? God guides not the wrongdoing people. Say thou, I find not in what has been revealed to me what is unlawful to one who would eat it, save it be carrion, or blood poured forth, or the flesh of swine, and it is an abomination or perfidy, dedicated to other than God. But whoso is forced, neither desiring nor transgressing, thy Lord is forgiving and merciful. And to those who hold to Judaism, we made unlawful every animal with a claw, and of oxen and sheep we made unlawful to them the fat thereof, save what their backs bear, or the entrails, or what is mixed with bone, that rewarded them for their sectarian zealotry, and we are truthful. And if they deny thee, say thou, your Lord is the possessor of mercy, but not repelled is his wrath from the law-breaking people. Verse 148. Those who ascribe a partnership will say, had God willed, we would not have ascribed a partnership, nor would our fathers, nor would we have made anything unlawful. Thus did those who were before them, until they tasted our might. Say thou, have you any knowledge to bring forth for us? You follow only assumption, you are only guessing, and are only guessing. See? Do you have any knowledge that you can bring forth for us? Any scripture? Say thou, then to God belongs the conclusive argument. Had he willed, he would have guided you altogether. 150. Say thou, Bring your witnesses who bear witness that God has made this unlawful. Then if they bear witness, bear thou not witness with them. And follow thou not the vain desires of those who deny our proofs, and those who believe not in the hereafter, and they ascribe equals to their Lord. See, ascribing equals to their Lord is to take them as authority, as someone who is legislating for you. Only God has the right to legislate. Just trying to show you the parallels in the religion of Islam, which, if you know anything about the religion of Islam, most of the legislation is coming from the Hadith literature, which is stories made up by the forebears of Muslims. And they say that Muhammad allowed this and Muhammad forbade that, where Muhammad was just following the Quran and he was following the writ in the Quran. He wasn't authorized to allow or forbid anything. 151, say thou, come, I will recite what your Lord has made unlawful for you. See, here you go. This is the speech of the messenger, and God is instructing him to tell them what your Lord has made unlawful for you. See? That you ascribe a partnership with him to anything, while towards parents good conduct, and kill not your children out of poverty. We will provide for you and for them, and approach not sexual immoralities, whether open or concealed, and kill not the soul which God has made unlawful, save with justice, that he enjoined upon you, that you might use reason. See, you in the Quranic worldview, you cannot kill a soul unless there is a reason, and the reason is given, life for life. And approach not the property of the fatherless, save with what is better before he reaches his maturity, and fulfill the measure and the balance with equity. We burden not any soul save to his capacity. And when you speak, be just, though he be a relative, and the covenant of God fulfill, that he commanded you, that you might take heed. Just take a look at the Muslims and see how much of this stuff they're actually implementing. And this is my straight path, so follow it, and follow not other ways, for they will separate you from his path, that he commanded you, that you might be in prudent fear. See, this is the straight path, Sirati Mustaqiman. This is the path that in Surah Al-Fatiha, which is recited in the Muslim ritual prayer 5 times a day, in every unit of that prayer, Surah Al-Fatiha, and the Surah Al-Fatiha is guide us to the straight path. See, this is the straight path. God is giving it to you. It's right here. See, do not ascribe a partnership with God. Approach not the property of the Father. All this stuff. This is God's straight path. And this is my straight path, so follow it, and follow not other ways, for they will separate you from his path, that he commanded you, that you might be in prudent fear. Then we gave Moses the writ, complete for him who does good, and an explanation of everything, and his guidance and his mercy, that they might believe in the meeting with their Lord. Like I said, Musa was given the writ as well. And this is a writ we have sent down, one blessed, so follow it, and be in prudent fear, that you might obtain mercy. Lest you say, the writ was but sent down upon 2 groups before us, and we were of their study unaware. Or you say, had the writ been sent down upon us, we would have been better guided than they. And there has come to you clear evidence from your Lord, and guidance, and a mercy. Then who is more unjust than he who denies the proofs of God and turns away from them? We will reward those who turn away from our proofs with an evil punishment for their turning away. See, God will seal their hearts. Now we're talking about the sign, because they always say sign, send a sign. The only sign that'll come to them will be when the angels come. Look, they say, for the angels to come to them, or thy Lord to come, or for there to come some of the proofs of thy Lord. This is the proofs of the day, in which nothing will avail you. It won't matter whether you believe or not on that day. The day there comes to some of the day there come some of the proofs of thy Lord, the faith of a soul will benefit nothing, which had not believed before, nor by its faith earn good. Say thou, wait, we are waiting. Those who have divided their doctrine and become sects, thou art not of them in anything. Their affair is but with God, then will he inform them what they did. You understand this? This dividing your doctrine into sects, this is the classic religionist stuff, You might say, okay, Sunnis and Shias, they're talking about sex. It's actually talking about the sex in the sense the Muslims are a sect, like the Christians and the Jews. They were all commanded to follow the scripture. I mean, the Jews and Christians had their own scriptures, which I don't know what happened with them. But anyway, the Quran is the scripture that is preserved now in this day and age. So there's no division once you follow the Quran. So by you saying, oh, I'm a Sunni Muslim or I'm a Shia Muslim, or even that I follow the religion of Islam, this is what it means to become sect, because each sect has its own book. There's only one guidance now, the Quran. See, Muhammad had nothing to do with them. Whoso brings a good deed, he has tenfold the like thereof, and whoso brings evil, he is not rewarded save with the like thereof, and they will not be wrong. Now, again, religion gives you this false hope that if you convert, you're saved. That's it. Whatever wrongs you did, no worries, or whatever good. But it says here, whoso brings a good deed, he has tenfold the like thereof. And whoso brings, he is not rewarded save with the like thereof. Say thou, as for me, my Lord has guided me to a straight path, a right doctrine, the creed of Ibrahim, Abraham inclining to truth, and he was not of the idolaters. Say thou, my duty and my penance and my living and my dying are for God, the Lord of all creation. He has no partner, and that have I been commanded, and I am the first of those submitting. Say thou, is it other than God I should desire as Lord when he is Lord of all things? And every soul earns not save for itself, and no bearer bears the burden of another. Then to your Lord is your return, and he will inform you of that wherein you differed. And he it is that made you successors of the earth, and raised some of you above others in degree, that he might try you by what he has given you. Thy Lord is swift in retribution, and he is the forgiving and merciful. That concludes chapter 6. And God willing, we're going to start on chapter 7 in the next session. Hope everyone is doing well. Peace and blessings be upon you.